Hey everybody, Carla here, and I want to continue our discussion about emotional detox and share with you something that I discovered this week that was a miraculous moment for me. And in order to share that with you, I got to tell you about my biggest fear in life. When I was a kid, I got into a private school, one of the best private schools in Massachusetts. And my brother, who is 17 months older than me and was my heart at that time, he's the one who taught me how to read, and we did everything together. We're the Wonder Twins. And he also went out for this school and didn't get in. Now, my mother at the time only knew what to do in order to keep a sane household. So she says to me, I don't want you to make a big deal out of this. I don't want you to make a big deal about getting into this school because it may hurt your brother's feelings. On the flip side of that, I think my brother was hurt that I got in and he didn't. And we had some really bad fights, and it include neighborhood kids and him saying, well, you're smart at school, you're dumb at home kind of thing. This is a pattern that continued through my life. And it's a pattern that made me feel that if I was to do anything extraordinary, because I'm a smart girl, if I was to do anything extraordinary, then the people that I loved would go away from me. And as I grew up through my early teens, I did some stuff. My 20s, I did some stuff, in the sense that I was always doing these things. They're kind of part of my nature to go out and be in front and act and do all of this stuff, right? Okay. I'm not going deep into it. Anyway, after I did these great things, there was always friction. So I was always of the thought that if you did something extraordinary, you'd be alone. And in order to cradle myself through that, I had food. Because you could never be without food. And food was always going to make you feel good. And then on the other side of that, I thought that, I had issues with boys when I was younger, and boys liking me and me not seeing that I was pretty, and boys liking me, and then not, having friction with girls and stuff. And I figured that if I didn't really understand boys, which I didn't, if I didn't really understand boys, I would at least have my girlfriends, and girls would be less threatened by a fat girl. So if you eat, you can be smart. Yeah, you can be pretty in the face, but you can be smart, and you can be pretty in the face, and you can be non-threatening. And you'll have all the people that you love around you. This was my rationale, and this was my rationale for a really long time. Having gone through that, I realized, first of all, that's just not true. It's true in the sense that you are non-threatening, but what's not true is that you can suppress your own nature. And it is my nature to be a smart woman, to be a woman who is, I'm naturally an out front kind of person, a big thinker, all of that. And it's just who I am. So to try to repress that through food eating, it just doesn't make any sense. So the other day, I'm talking to a friend of mine, my friend Julie, and we're talking about this project that I'm working on now, which is another big thinker project like I do. And I had issues with a man last week. And a man that I care about seemingly going away from me. So all of my old issues of, oh, you can't be this extraordinary person with, and still have a relationship, you can't have that. All of that came up within me. And what I said to Julie was that I was so afraid of being this person who's out front and talking about the greatness of juices and raw foods and stuff, but I'd still go into my closet, because I'm an extroverted introvert in the sense that I need to go away sometimes and be private and be by myself to refuel and then go back out. Lots of people are this way. However, I didn't want to go in my closet and be there with food. I don't want that for me anymore, and I have lived my life that way. My old business, I was out front, and the issues that I was dealing with in my relationship, the only solace that I had, or the only solace that I thought that I had, was food. So I was in this closet where it was me and fish sandwiches and French fries, and then I'd be out front like, oh, everything's fine. I can't do that anymore. It was as if I was saying that food was my God. And then I had to restructure that thought and say, no, 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 no. Junk food was my God. It was the only place that I could go where I was myself and I was calm and I was happy and all of that. And it's just not true. Junk food is a false God. And whatever comfort it is that you derive from eating it is detrimental to your body. And that was what I had to learn last week. It's an amazing thing for someone who has been addicted to food to even come to that realization that it's just not the truth. That addiction to something that was sugary or salty or starchy, that you just don't need it to get through. You don't need it to get through the hurt or the childhood grief or the misunderstandings with family or any of those things. Now, there are people who have been through some serious trauma in their lives, and I have not been through that. My grief, however, is my grief. And it was strong enough for a very long time for me to get to 271 pounds, to walk around in this fat suit. And what I realize now through the process of juicing and the raw foods and even making these videos is that to be vulnerable with yourself, if not anyone else, to be vulnerable with yourself and get to the truth of who you really are and what you really need and how you really feel and all of that, the lies versus the truths that we tell ourselves. Food can only numb that for so long. Eventually, it just all comes up. And as it comes up, we need to welcome it and cradle ourselves during the process. And I can look back now at my relationship with my brother, which is one of the most important relationships in my life, and say, that hurt me. I can look back now and say, it's okay that you're smart, and it's okay to be beautiful, and it's okay to be a go-getter and an entrepreneur and someone who makes things happen. And you can be all of that and not lose the people that you love. You can be all of that and the people that you love will still be there in your corner. And they may not be doing the things that you do, they will still be with you. And it's okay. And I'm telling you, that was my largest fear. My largest fear. And to have that come up in me last week and to realize that it didn't need to be a fear that I held on to anymore, that I could release it, and I could release it with or without the food. And I could look at the food and see, this is not the truth of me. That person in the closet who hides and eats and then comes out and blah, blah, that's not the truth. What is the truth is that I love green juice. What's the truth is that I will take a kale salad over a pizza any day. Now, because I see what that kale salad has done for me and my clarity and my body and how it's helped me let go of my fear. So to come to the realization that junk food is the false god is a major step for me. Now, I don't know what that step is for you or what your fear is. I do know, however, that it's time to let it go. And that you can let it go. I'll see you later.